With the whole thing that's going on right now with the SSPX, I feel like it's about time we talk about tradition, listen to papal authority, and how we need to be united as a church and not divided into different groups. Let's jump in with giving you a little bit of background. For those who somehow don't know what's going on right now, I'll leave in the description where you can read the whole letter from Pope Leo, but the SSPX, which is the Society of Saint Pius X, is a traditional group of Catholicism. Basically believes that any pope after Pius X has been a false pope. They stick strong to the traditions, which is a beautiful thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. So basically what happened very recently is they're electing 4 new bishops, but without the papal consent. And that is not a good thing. And so basically Pope Leo reached out to them, sent them a letter and saying, your church is beautiful, like what you believe is beautiful, but I beg of you, I pray that you can just come back into line with the rest of the church. Please, don't do this. You still have time. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this. Like Pope Leo is coming from the loving father, just saying, okay, his kid is about to do something awful, and he's like, okay, you still have time. Come back to dad, come back and just, let's talk about this. Okay, don't do that. Don't leave the door. But the problem that makes this more confusing is that it's not like it's one of those things where it's clearly they are awful. The SSPX is a beautiful, and I was watching a video recently. It was a clip from Science with Aquinas. Matt Fradd was mentioning the fact of like, yeah, he went to Austria, and the only good churches he could go to really was SSPX. And that's the sad thing. As someone who lives in America, right now where I live it doesn't have the best churches. And so if there was an SSPX, I might be tempted to go to one of those. But it's like, for the most part, America, we have some good churches. We have some beautiful, still traditional, sticks to the church, sticks to the beauty churches. But there are a lot of other places in the world who don't have that. And that's something that's beautiful that the SSPX has. They have the tradition to them. And tradition is a very important part. I literally had recorded a video, but then the audio was just awful, so I actually decided not to edit and release that one. And then this happened, so I'm like, I guess we'll re-talk about this some in this video. But tradition is a beautiful thing. For the last 2,000 years, having traditions, having the church, being able to listen to the church and tradition when it comes to what the Bible teaches, so that you don't have this idea of, I'm the only one who knows what's right. And that's the problem you're running into here, right? The tradition part of what they're doing is beautiful, but the problem is that they think they know better than the church. They think they know better than what the Pope is saying. And there are some statements that Pope Francis said and people like that cause them to kind of understandably think this stuff. But in the end, what it comes down to is you're not better than the Protestants and the Orthodox and churches like that who have turned away from Christ's church, thinking you know better. God did not say that the church is never going to have struggles. The church is never going to have bad leaders. Our very first pope denied Jesus 3 times. We have look at the Middle Ages. There are some awful popes. But the church has survived 2,000 years like this. And the SSPX is not playing the high ground by turning away from the church. They're actually leaving Christ's church. They're not the only ones sticking to the church. And of course I can go into more videos about this stuff. But the danger that makes the situation hard is that the fact of, yes, what they're doing is wrong. You need Christ's head of the church here on earth to say, yes, I sign off on these bishops. But what makes it hard is the fact of, you look all around the world and you see these awful Catholic churches, these churches who have twisted things from Vatican II and all to have these modern, false Catholic churches practically. Some of them are still in line with the church, but they're too obsessed with being of the world that they can't stick to tradition. They can't stick to the beauty. The city I grew up in is a big culprit when it comes to all the churches in my home city sticks with solid Catholic teaching. But you have this big argument between the traditionals and the charismatics in my hometown, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to leave, because it was just annoying to deal with, of just traditional people saying they're better than the charismatic people and charismatic people saying they're better than the traditional people, and not united. You would need to be united. The problem with the SSPX, they want to stick to tradition, but they're sticking to the tradition to the fault of their own people, to the fault of the church. They are refusing to listen to papal authority, which is just not good. That's not what Christ wants. And then again, I can talk more in other videos about some of these topics, but and then you have people on the other side where I grew up, and I can go to a different video about this. but I grew up in a charismatic family, and I love tradition. Another video I'm going to be talking about why praise music should not be in mass, what church songs should be. But the point is that I grew up in a very charismatic family, and so I saw firsthand this disdain for people who are more traditional from my own family, and then seeing people hate on my family for being charismatic. And that's not how Christ wanted his church. We should be united. Some charismatic stuff are good. Not all of it, but some are good. And there's some good stuff with tradition. You need to find that safe balance where we can unite and love Christ together as a Catholic church, as a united church, and not be fighting among one another, and not just decide, hey, we don't agree with what the church is saying. The SSPX is a lot like the Orthodox Church when it comes to the fact that it is a group that loves tradition, has some beautiful values to it, but has decided that they know better than Christ when it comes to the authority he gave us. He gave us St. Peter for a reason. He gave us the popes for a reason. SSPX, look towards the Orthodox Church and see the problems with them to see why you don't want to go down that route. So I strongly, if anyone from the SSPX is watching this video, listen to what the Pope says. Listen to what Christ's church speaks of. Christ prayed that we may all be united. Yes, the Latin Mass is beautiful, but that doesn't mean you need to go against the church to do that. You are not following God's will. The words of liturgy is less important than following Christ's teaching. That is more important than whatever words you're saying in liturgy, whatever format you're having. Not saying that you can't go to a Latin Mass, but there's also beautiful Novus Ordo Masses, so you can go to either one, and it's still a valid sacrament. So we need to stop having this hate towards each other, and we need to be united again. We need to be willing to lay down our own thoughts of what we want in order to listen to what Christ wants for us. Even if you disagree with something the church says, Christ gave us the church for a reason. The Christ church is a family. Not all the times you can agree with your spouse. Not all the times are you going to agree with your siblings, but you have to respect them. And that's what God is calling us to. The church is Christ's bride. And what the SSPX is doing, what the Orthodox are doing, what the Protestants are doing, they're dishonoring Christ's church by doing that. Christ's bride. So don't do that. Anyways, guys, again, I can talk about more of this stuff in different videos, but I want to make this brief one for you guys. I'm praying for you. Please pray for me. Let's pray that we can have a united church again. This has been a Catholic Life of Struggle. Till next time, Peter Whaley, signing off.